What is up, everybody? It's Matt Johnson. We are back with another episode of Real Estate Uncensored. This is the place where you get actionable ideas, insight, and inspiration to turn your real estate career into a life of freedom. We have an awesome repeat guest with us today. Dale Archdekin is with us, and we might have a special appearance by the evil bald ninja, the Gene Volpinator himself, if he can join us today. And it's the holidays, Greg. So we've got stuff to talk about. We're going to talk about commissions. We're going to talk about objections. We're going to talk about whether 2018 is the beginning of the end for the individual agent, why you should join a team or start a team. We've got a ton of stuff to get into, but I just have to say, sitting next to me, I just have to do this because it's here. I'm just going to, just for good luck, just throw some salt right over the shoulder. I'm here at my parents' house because it's the holidays and there's just stuff. So I might as well just take advantage of it. Greg McDaniel, the Junior Grandmaster, how are you?
What up, Jonathan Face? Hey, man. I am, dude, I proposed this, and I'm going to propose it again as you see my cat's ass, that I think that we're going to record the pre-show, and that's going to be our new podcast. But it's only going to be for male listeners, because every female will be horribly disgusted at us and run away fleeing into the night sky. But we always have so much fun. Bandito, move your ass. Jesus, cat.
Well, first of all, I have no idea what you're talking about because we would not countenance any body talk going on behind the scenes here at Real Estate Uncensored. So I don't know what you mean, Greg. But let's welcome in our special guest who's joining us here today, all the way from the East Coast, Dale Archdekin. What's up, man?
What's up, everybody? Good to see you guys. Thank you for having me. Hello, Internet land.
The land.
And thanks to your coat and hat, my retinas no longer see the colors red or blue.
Listen,
which is a problem because I think that's all your cones in your eyes are supposed to see, and then everything is a shade of green, red, and blue or something. So I may be blind, but Dale, please, for those of us that can't see you right now, unfortunately, please describe what you are wearing for our listening audience.
So I'm representing Hanukkah spirit today. No, I have a Santa hat on, and I am wearing a very fancy jacket from TJ Maxx that is a light blue, baby blue field with what are these candy canes on them?
Yes.
Yeah, and these I had to represent. I knew you guys would be lame. You would just show up like it's a regular Wednesday or whatever day.
Hey, man, I got my name on my sweatshirt. Upgrade that.
Just so you don't forget. That makes a lot of sense.
It's helpful when the police officers find me. They're like, "Are you McDaniel?" Yeah, I'm McDaniel.
Like, hang on, I gotta put it. Can I stand in front of a mirror? I can't read it upside down. Hang on.
Yeah, I'm dyslexic. It makes perfect sense this way. What are you talking about?
Oh, it does. That actually makes total sense. Yes. Oh man. So first of all, welcome everybody to a very special and sensitive holiday edition of Real Estate Uncensored. No, this is not your Hallmark podcast on real estate. We're going to talk about a lot of things. We've got some fun stuff to get into. We've got some big people watching. Glenn Twiddle's watching. Ronnie Phillip from down in Dallas is with us. Josh, Kyle, Beth, what is going on, guys? We appreciate you joining us on this little holiday edition of Real Estate Uncensored. So let's say we start off with an objection.
Okay.
Dale, I'm going to throw this at you. Let's see. This is from a seller. Another agent said he can get more money for our house. So let's just start with a very, very simple one. Maybe we'll get into some deeper stuff later. So Dale, what say you on that?
Great. How much did he say you could get you?
$500,000, Dale, on this magnificent split entry 3-bed, 2-bath home with a 2-car garage.
Listen, it is beautiful, and this carpet is to die for. I tell you what. You can barely see the chalk outlines on this thing.
That's right.
Well, that's fantastic if he thinks he can get you more. So, based on the information that we've looked at and what, your neighbors have gotten, some having homes with more upgrades and some having less, what was his plan on getting that sort of number for your home?
Well, he just felt like we could get that much if we put it on the market just based on what I don't know, I guess it was based on some of the other homes that have sold in the last 6 months or so.
Got it. What do you think his motivation was for telling you that?
I don't know.
Okay.
That's a great question, Dale. I don't really know what his motivation. I mean, obviously he wants to list the house, but it seemed like he felt like he could get that much.
Got it. Okay.
So
and what happens if he can't?
That is another great question. I don't have the answer. Stop asking me questions I don't have the answer to, Dale.
That's all we're going to do. We're just going to ask you questions until you're like, I need you, Dale. I want to sign a listing agreement with you because I like
That
you.
was so slick. I love it. Like, what do you think his motivation was for asking you that? It was such a subversive question. I absolutely love it. Oh, man, that's brilliant. Okay, so if we follow that line of questioning down, you're just planting those seeds of doubt over and over again. Like, what's his plan? Did he mention like what's his marketing plan going to be like for getting that much money? What type of buyer is he looking for that's going to pay 20% more than your neighbor down the street sold for?
Yeah, that's amazing. Maybe I should have him sell my house.
Maybe I just have to sell my house.
So besides the clever turns of phrase, what's your when you handle an objection like that? Just like what's your thinking process behind the scenes? What are you trying to achieve?
So all the time. So what I teach is that what you need to do is understand their perspective, the lead's perspective, and from their perspective, like understand it like they understand it. Get them to convince you that this is the best decision that can possibly be made. And when you ask enough questions to really understand it like they do, it either falls apart or it tells you exactly what they're looking for, right? And then you can position a different solution for them, which hopefully includes working with you instead of working with somebody else. But understand first. Seek to understand first. That's what you got to do.
Gotcha. So get them to convince you that they're making the best decision. I love that because this goes back to some of the work, Greg, that we've done with our mastermind folks behind the scenes, where we started off that relationship with an evaluation of kind of where they're at. And that whole structured conversation that we took them through had one goal, which is to help them make the best decision on moving forward, which is exactly what that type of conversation should be with the seller, right? I mean, if we've talked about it before, Greg, thinking about it and maybe even telling them that, hey, this is like if you're in there in a consultation, this is a needs analysis. Like, this is not about me trying to sell you on working with me or listing your home. And I mean, it's definitely not about me telling you what you want to hear so that I walk out with a listing I can't sell. So I love that approach. Get them to convince you that they're making the best decision.
Yeah. And you know what? If you can make them think it's their idea for you to list the house, you're going to win all the way across the board. A lot of us try to talk our way into a listing instead of, okay, well, I always talk about leading with value, planting seeds of doubt if there are other competitors. Not that you're condemning or ill-wishing the other agents, but you're just taking away the gloss and the fluff and the bullshit. Because let's be honest, listing presentations are basically one big, huge stroke fest of how awesome we are. And as long as we can take that away and poke holes in what that other person may or may not be presenting, and then debunk different ideas, like, well, I'll put your house in this super fancy glossy magazine. Bitch, the house is going to sell before the thing is printed. Where is the value on this? I still have to browbeat my team on that one, dude. They're like, we should broadcast in this, put all of our listings in this really nice magazine. All the other top agents do. I'm like, this shit is sold before it hits the freaking front porch. Where's the point? I mean, let's take that money and go blast that out on Facebook or do something else out there. But I mean, tell people that. I mean, people's biggest favorite topic is themselves, and they want to show their friends, ta-da! Look at my house in this super fancy glossy four-color magazine. Isn't it great? See the big picture of the front porch. Everyone's like, ooh,
so big,
but so big. It's like the biggest I've ever seen.
All right, let's not go down that path.
But I mean, yeah, poke holes in what the other agents are doing and ask questions. Stay in a state of curiosity consistently instead of being the one who knows everything. Because once you know everything, you lose right off the bat.
Yes.
Interesting. All right. Well, we've got a bunch of people watching. Andy Shear, what is up, man? First of all, Glenn Twiddle, I have a question for him because I know what time it is in Australia, and it's not time for you to be watching podcasts. It's either time for you to be resting or you should be asleep. I don't know what Glenn Twiddle is doing up right now, but we've got a bunch of other people watching, so just want to thank you guys for being with us. So first of all, Dale, you're working on Conversion University, and that's what kind of got us started down this path we were talking before we hopped on. Just about where real estate's heading, whether it's heading towards teams, away from teams, towards individual agents, away from that, or whatever the case is. But I would love to hear your perspective on, let's say you are the team leader you're sitting down with somebody that wants to join your team, and you're encountering some objections for that. You're trying to help them make the best decision. What does your mindset look like for having that conversation where you're helping somebody make the decision of whether they should join a team or not? I'm curious about your perspective because you're coming from that world.
Sure. I think the biggest thing is whether or not this person has any experience of trying to do it on their own. Or
now, why is that? You want to figure out if and what their personal experience has been like of doing it on their own?
Yeah, so typically, if you're trying to woo somebody onto your team, and first of all, if they're a producing agent and they've only worked on a team, they've never been out there in the wilderness, just in a loincloth and a knife, they don't have any idea what it takes to keep your ass fed, right? Sorry, all the team agents. I know you're hard workers out there, but if you haven't been out in the woods in a bear fight trying to stay alive, you really don't know what it takes, right? So, or likewise, if they've just gotten their license and they're a hotshot salesperson and they blew it out selling cars or vacuum cleaners or whatever it was, and now they're coming to real estate, they don't have a perspective on the amazing benefits that a team really offers them, right? The amazing amount of leverage and how the amount of stress and anxiety that a team takes off your shoulders by just letting you sell and do what you like doing. So you'd want to gauge that first, because if they don't have any experience, it's kind of like trying to, tell a blind person what shade of red they're looking at, right? You're like, they're just not going to get it. Understand that first, and then kind of tailor what you're telling them. So hopefully they do have some experience of doing it on their own. They know, they can kind of weigh those pros and cons, doing it myself or going in under a team, swallowing a little bit of my ego and my pride, but getting to, really focus on what I do and not have to worry about payroll or managing people or paying people or, any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
that is an interesting thing, because Greg, you've had kind of a hybrid experience from my observation, because you've been on a team, but you certainly didn't have anything handed to you. Definitely not on the lead generation side, and your family was not into buying leads. So you had a completely different experience than a lot of agents. When we're talking about agents coming into the game now, if you're 6 months in, a year in, 2 years in, you're thinking about joining a team, that concept is completely different, Greg, from what you got into when you joined your dad in the business.
Well, they do have indoor plumbing now too, so that makes a difference.
Well, thank God for that.
Yeah. Ooh, those trips to the outhouses were rough.
I know it's new to you.
I still have a problem with the whole flushing thing.
That's right.
But, the thing is, when I joined the team, as we laughed about several times, I was quite a douchebag. Yeah, on many different levels. And so my father, banished me to the hard streets of Alamo, and where I had a door knock, 5, 6, 7 hours a day and 5 days a week. So I learned very quickly on what I needed to do to find my own leads, how to work the open houses, and for where to pick up the buyers and where to meet the sellers and the whole nine like that. But then I also had the other side of that equation, and I was able to take, once we got our right people in the bus on the right seats, take the leads, and once the deals were moving, just throw them back to Eileen, and Eileen will run the entire deal for us. I mean, it's a very unique situation, and it's been a while since I've been out in the woods, as Dale was talking about, having a bear fight. Fighting a saber-toothed tiger. It's one of those things that I think that knowing how to go out and hunt and kill for you and get your business is absolutely a necessity. But then having the staff and the teammates that plug the different holes that you aren't good at and they're really good at, so you guys work as one oiled machine. I think that, I don't know, man. I think that the way that a lot of advertising is being done, like you were talking about before, is going to be geared more towards a team, more towards a brokerage. I mean, KW is pushing the expansions, EXP is pushing national expansion. The only people who aren't pushing expansions are like my company, Rockcliffe. I mean, they just stay regional. They just stay in their cubbyhole. They don't go outside of it, and it's been interesting to see what's going to happen to those non growth-minded brokerages and teams and agents come with a technology when you can really reach out. Like we're all over the country right now. We're having a video chat like we're sitting in the same room, and we have people watching all around the world. I mean, it's a trip. So how can you leverage that for growth in a team? I don't know. It's interesting. It's really interesting to see where it's going to land.
Well, Dale, let's get back to kind of what spurred the original conversation, which is you're doing all this work on Conversion University. So you're putting together like the best practices and this whole course on how to convert leads, which is why you're coming to believe that the individual agent isn't equipped to do that at the high enough level to compete with the team. So let's go deeper on that a little bit. So what is it about the lead generation and lead conversion process, the way it's going, that's giving teams such a big advantage?
Sure. And just to clarify, so Conversion University it's a training course, a university course for agents, team agents, and ISAs. I mean, it really applies to any salesperson who's working leads, but it's specifically designed for team agents and ISAs who come onto a team and they're receiving leads already, to educate them and get them up to a high level really fast and setting appointments within the first 2 weeks. But as I'm looking out there, you know, and I see and work with other teams out there who now are developing entire sales teams around receiving and converting leads at a high level. That is what I believe becomes difficult to compete with as an individual agent. So let me say this. If you're an individual agent and you're primarily working your sphere and past client and you're regularly adding to your sphere and you're staying in touch with them, you're staying in front of them, fantastic, right? And if you're happy with what you're doing, great, that's fantastic. Just keep doing what you're doing, right? Keep marching. I think what I'm saying is that if you wanted to grow and you wanted to do more and you wanted to leverage, what I'm seeing is that the way of leverage is team, right? And that's if you wanted to build a company, that's team. Or even if you just wanted to be able to do more transactions as an individual. If you wanted to have a life and you want to do 40, 50, 60, 70 transactions a year, that's leverage, right? So essentially you're building a company to do that, or you can join a team and do that. But right now with the advertising and marketing out there, Zillow's, TrulyARealtor.com, teams are buying up such a big space there, and they're buying so many of those leads. And if you look at it, when you go on there, it's not just the team that you see, right? The team is made up of a bunch of individuals too. So if you look at it, that team has a lot more reach. They got all these fingers in terms of being a team, compared with one person as a solo person. And now we've got lead generation companies getting into this. We've got brokerages that are trying to get into it to try and emulate the teams based on the resources that they can offer. That's where that thought comes from.
Another thing is the fact that, I mean, as I watched my father, you know, work his ass off for decades, you know, in real estate, dude, vacations included him working all day long, coming having dinner with us, and him going back to the phones and working the deals. When you have a team that you can rely on, you can, like you said earlier, Dale, you can have a life. Go on a vacation. Go see France with your wife that she's been willing to do for the last 20 years. Not worry about the deals. Know that things are handled and that you lean on the people that are surrounding you. I think that's one of the biggest things that in this business, the stress levels are astronomical at times. When deals are going sideways on you, you lose your shit. Because you're like, oh my God, this is my money, this is my clients. But two things are going to happen in real estate. One, every time you book a vacation, the day you leave, you'll have people calling you wanting to list the house or buy houses with you. Guaranteed. And deals are going to go south. 2 guarantees in this business. But you need someone to help shoulder that as you move through this transition from a single to a team agent. And a team, guys, you don't have to be a team like 10 people strong. You can just be you and don't try not to make it your spouse. Seriously, no disrespect to spouse teams. But, I mean, being married is, I've heard, hard enough. Fucking looks hard enough. And then, having a business partner is hard enough. Try to separate church and state on that so that when a deal is going south, your husband or your wife isn't bitching at you because it's their client or their listing or it's their responsibility or whatever. Let your business partner take some of that off your shoulders. One of the things that I've found that, when you start teaming up with people and partnering up with folks, you have to remember that this is now a very, very close relationship. If you're not married to your partner, you're probably going to feel like you're married to them at times because you're going to share very intimate details. Make sure the people that you pick are not out of convenience, but they're out of quality. You don't be too quick to have team members join you and you join a team. I mean, I've had some douchebags on my team that we had to fucking fire. I had to pay one dude $800 to leave. He was such a bag of dicks.
Stop picking douchebags.
I can't. I can't hate on my own. Matt,
Yeah.
Greg is attracted to a bag of dicks. I think that's the takeaway. That's all I took from that.
Yeah, pretty much. Yes.
I can't stop.
You guys are on the show with me, so what does that say about you?
Oh, that was good. I didn't see that.
All right. But I think, Dale, you're right about number one. If you're doing a good job of keeping in touch with your sphere, and you have those personal relationships, like I think they're going to be fine for probably quite a while because we know this. The conversion rates on online leads continue to go. I mean, the teams that are doing it at a high level, they're increasing their own internal lead conversion ratios, but overall, the industry is going down, right? Because the number of online leads continues to skyrocket, the number of homes sold is flatline, right? So that's not sustainable. So that'll taper off at some point. But anyway, point being, there's a lot more leads out there than there are legitimate deals. So the numbers don't pencil. Like you're just, I mean, some you might get your own internal lead conversion up to, let's say, 10% from 5% or 15%. But really that's a matter, I think, Dale, you'd agree, of combining your team coming up in their objection handling ability combined with your ability as the broker or team leader to selectively generate better quality leads. Which that's a whole other conversation for another day. But anyway, the point being, I think one of the things you mentioned just offhand is that do you have the ability as a solo agent to grow your sphere of influence? Because if you don't have that, I mean, Greg, you've talked about it. Your dad said it for years. What is it? What's the percentage that he feels like your database shrinks by every year?
I have no idea, dude.
I think it's either 10 or 15%. Your dad said, like, you just count on your database shrinking just by attrition, moving out of the area, death. And I think he said it was something like 10%. It's somewhere around in that neighborhood, 10 or 15% a year. And so you just count on, like, you have to be growing your sphere and you have to have a predictable, consistent, scalable way to generate new relationships, like no matter what business you're in. I think, Dale, that's where a lot of individual agents get themselves into trouble, is they don't have that. Yeah, that's when you feel like you're out in the woods with a loincloth and like a broken off wine bottle instead of a knife. Greg's in wine country, so I envision him just being out there with like a broken wine bottle.
My wife and I were having this discussion at lunch today. She's a top producing agent. She one of her gripes about all these conferences, and I'm not going to name brands, but the conferences, the get together, the drink the Kool-Aid conferences. She's like,
we have no idea what you're talking about, Dale.
Yeah. She's like, it's got such this air of you're not enough. It's like always do more. And she's like, you know what, F you guys. How about if I'm happy with what I'm doing? How about I like that?
Yeah.
And I said, that makes sense. And, she said, can't we just celebrate the wins? And I said, yes, you absolutely can. The other part of that is when you're in a business, literally, like Grant Cardone says, if you're not growing, it's dying. It might be not dying by a lot, but like your dad said, it's dying by a little bit every year, right? And so you can't just stay flat. That's one of the things. So you do have to have that time to keep adding more to it so that you can add a little bit more than gets taken away.
Yeah, and that's why I consistently, people say, well, I sell my sphere of influence, I only work my database. I think it's a lot of fear-based as well, going out there and getting told that word no, or the rejection of, hey, do you want to think about buying or selling? No, I don't want to. Go away. I don't like you. I'm using my sister's, best friend's aunt's nephew who does real estate once a year. Okay. But if you go out there and you know that 97% of the people you're going to talk to when you do outbound prospecting are not going to be in a position to want to buy or sell at this moment, you have a 3% chance of success, but that 3% will give you massive rewards. But you have to go out, do the outbound, then you have to do the follow-ups, which I've been very vocal about the fact that I've left over $300,000 in commissions on the table this year just from the deals I know because I didn't do the follow-up. Now, it's not about the outbound prospecting that scares the shit out of me. It's the follow-up. God, that is boring work. I mean, that is worse than, doing outbound calls or door knocking, in my opinion. I like hunt. I like to hunt. I like to see what's going on. I like to make a new friend. That's what
Well,
outbound
I had this
prospecting
thought
is.
about you, Greg.
Oh boy.
Well, part of the reason you like outbound prospecting is that you like to take people that are upset with you and make them like you. So I think you should just start all of your follow-up calls by just insulting something about them, their body, their clothing, their hair, their spouse, whatever. Like, just start your follow-up calls by pissing them off, and then it brings back the challenge of making them like you again.
Matt, you're
Like,
ugly.
what's up? What's up, fatty? How are you today?
Yeah, right.
I have a body
or for
index
example-
issue. God.
Yeah, exactly. Or every time I hop on a podcast with Greg, what's up with the beard?
Hey man, chicks dig the beard, brother. Don't hate on it. It's working. But I mean, yeah, doing a lot of this stuff, but just getting out of your own way and making that first couple of door knocks, first couple of prospecting calls, go to that networking event, building your database, is going to be nerve-wracking. But just understand that everybody else is fearful too. Okay, these people don't know what you're trying to do to them on the phone or when you're at their front door. They're on guard too. Okay,
I mean, look, when
Huh?
you show up to a door with a beard like that, you're gonna get resistance, right? That's just how
I
it works.
literally do. I've had grown men recoil in fear when they open the front door. I'm like, "Hi!"
They're like, "Whoa,
"Yeah,
that is real."
Oh, man, bear beast, what are you doing out of the zoo?" I mean, but I think that with what we're talking about here before is, with multiple team members, you have multiple fingers out there touching a different part of the overall marketplace that you're working. Like, I don't have kids. Chris has 3 kiddos, and they're all different ages, so he has different spheres of influence or inroads into different groups or organizations or events or things that I would never be a part of because I have no dog in the fight. But dogfighting's bad. Don't dogfight. But
We're firmly against dog fighting. Kid fighting, we're ambivalent about, but definitely no dog fighting.
child soldiers, no problem. But dogfighting,
That's right.
now that's
That's
just
where we draw the
over the line.
So bougie.
But I mean, in all honesty, guys, pick people that are not exactly like you. Terry is going to be 70 in 3 years, the Grandmaster. Chris he and I are 10 years and 5 days apart. So I'm 39 this year. He just turned 49. So he works in a different playing field, and I work at the 30s and 40s and below really well. So we don't really run the same social get-togethers, which is also very, very helpful to expand your reach. But if you all look the same, act the same, do the same exact things, you're not really going to have that much more of an opportunity to prospect and network. Would you guys agree with that?
Well, just in the sense that, yeah, you guys being on a team, if there were just 3 people that all ran in the same social circles and had all the same friends, being on the same team doesn't add any additional value unless somebody's building a structure for the other people. And that's what I wanted to get into a little bit with you, Dale, is let's talk about like the structure when you think about how a team helps people convert leads and gives them a structure that makes it easier for them to be salespeople and focus on what they do best. Like, what does that look like for you?
And some teams don't do this. I mean,
Right.
I've even coached clients whose teams don't do this. But for the most part, a team really handles everything from your conversation with that client, and they agree to work with you, list with you, buy through you. All the back end paperwork, all the transactional stuff really just gets handled in a professional way, in a consistent and professional way. And if the team is really dialed in, it also has a high level of communication for the agent with their client, automated communication, as well as specialized communication. So that agent can be out there hunting, right? Just out there, shooting game and dragging it in, and the team cuts it up for you and handles everything. And, if a team is really dialed in and they have the touch plans to keep you in front of your sphere and past client, because look, the reality is that probably 90% of the agents out there don't stay in touch with their past client or sphere in a really good, consistent way, at a high level.
Yeah.
They may do it sporadically. Some of them do it well.
Yeah.
A lot of us are going to do it sporadically, and some of us just aren't going to do it at all. And it keeps, it's on the to-do list. It just never gets done. So if you have a team that's operating at a high level, they can automate all of that stuff. I mean, the reality is that salespeople that are really good at talking to people and fostering relationships oftentimes are really bad about creating and managing repeatable systems. They just oftentimes don't go together.
Yeah.
So you leverage the team for a repeatable system, and as long as they're doing their part, you don't have to worry about that. And you'll have plenty of people to talk to, even if they aren't giving you leads, which is just another, factor.
Yeah. The thing is that like there's an NAR stat, and I'm gonna get this wrong, so fact check me if you guys want. But the numbers aren't that important. They said like 89 or 86 or something like that % of the people said that they would reuse the same agent when they were going to go either buy or sell again. But I think only like 10 or 11% actually did, and it's because of the tremendously horrible job we do at follow up. And then we sit there and bitch like, what the fuck, Dale? Why'd you list with Johnson? Fuck, that guy's a retard, man. I'm way better, man. Why didn't you call me? And it's like, well, because Matt was there and he provided the value, and you know what? Greg, you weren't top of mind. You weren't doing your job. Matt did his job.
MIA.
Dale got the business. And Matt got the business from Dale because he did his job. I mean, Our team, it was for a while there, it was annoying because we'd sit there every Thursday morning. We would look at the new tour sheet of, or caravan, whatever you guys call it, wherever you are in the country or the world. But, and we'd say, well, how come they didn't relist with us? And what happened to that one? And what happened here? And I'm like, I finally just got tired of it. And I just told my dad, I'm like, because we didn't fucking follow up. That dude did.
Yeah.
Be mad at yourself, not at them. He didn't like that too much. But we have to own it, though. I mean, if we want to, we have to own the good and the bad in life. If you get upset with someone doing that, they're taking action and you didn't take action, you can't be upset with them for doing that. You really can't. I mean, I got pissed off at one of my very, very good friends who, her mom, my friend Gina, her mother's mother was my dad's very first client in real estate in California. We've helped them buy and sell property. I've been best friends with this girl. I had to freaking testify after one of her boyfriends literally tried to kill her. And the guy put a hit out on me. If he said if you saw me, you'd kill me. And I kind of believed him. And even then, her mom listed with another agent. So you can't.
Wow.
That's right. But see, I'm not mad about it. I just know that it's going to happen.
Oh, man.
Goes with the territory. It's not funny. It sucks.
Well, no, I know. Well, that
is a kick in the
part
sack.
about him putting out a hit on you, that was kind of funny too. But anyway, point being, it is an interesting situation. Yes, and we've had some variation of that happen to us, and most of the time, we can trace it back to inadequate follow up on our own part. So at least you're owning it, Greg. I'm happy to hear that. But Glenn Twiddle says, the silliest statement in the world, my client listed with someone else.
Thank you, Glenn.
He's so right. My client listed with somebody else. You listed with somebody else. It's not your client, buddy. It's just not your
my
client.
client.
Great point, Glenn. I love that comment. I just love the fact that Glenn is listening to us while driving. I'm hoping that he means someone else is driving and he's commenting by text. I'm afraid to say that he's probably driving and then commenting with one hand while he's watching us or something like that.
Not safe.
Twiddle.
Bad, Glenn. But we do love your comments. Oh, man, that's funny. All right, so I have a couple thoughts, and then maybe we'll start to wrap things up, but I'll throw this out to you guys. So I think, Dale, you talk about the part where you started off by saying people should either build a team or, start a team or join a team. So I wanted to get to the other side of that a little bit because I know Hank, we've had him on the show. We absolutely love Hank Aving. His perspective on it is that most people should not start a team. I think he's right on that in most cases. However, the trend that, Dale, you're talking about is it's not just about teams. It's bigger than teams. It's really the trend is specialization. That's my perspective on it, right? So you can take advantage of that trend without starting a team. Right? Because if things are going more teams are a vehicle for specialization. Hey, you do this and you do this and you do this. But you can get the specialization effect just by having a great assistant that can handle contract close for you. Right. So Glenn brought up the example. He's going down. The reason why he's in the car right now is he's driving down to interview Australia's #1 producer who does $5 million in commission a year with 2 assistants. And Greg, you've mentioned, is it Bob Wolf?
Bob Wolf. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he has how many assistants? 3 assistants?
Last time I saw him, he had 3 assistants running at full speed in his office. I mean,
Right.
full
So
speed.
that's a true, I would call that a rock star team, right? So it's a team, but it's all built around the concept of making that one person at the top super, super ultra productive.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Some of the
No.
best small businesses in the world are run on that model. I mean, that's essentially what an MBA team is. So there's nothing wrong with that. So I wanted to just throw that out there, that there's other ways to specialize and get the benefits of being on a team. But you building or starting a team doesn't mean you have to build the next Philly Living team.
No. You certainly don't. I think that it's just a smaller, it's less frequent that you're going to have somebody who has the chops to do that, to like produce 5 million in GCI a year, who stops at just having 2 assistants. You know what I mean? Because usually that person, because that guy's a CEO, that guy is an entrepreneur and a business owner, right?
Right.
So most of the time, somebody like that is going to continue with the leverage, so that he's not out there going on the appointments and you know doing.
Yeah,
all
you're
that
100%
stuff.
right.
Usually, right?
Yeah.
So what I think is that for the most part, most people out there, I would say either join a team or make a team, like one or the other, right? In general, because I also believe that when you join a team, you get to go into somebody else's environment. Now, provided that this is not a totally dysfunctional team, right? There's some absolute shit shows out there with lots of dead hookers under the mattress, as we talked about.
I forgot about that.
You don't want to join that one, right?
Okay.
You got to do a bed check before you join this team.
Right.
But
No dead hookers.
yeah, no, let's make sure that's clean. So if you go to a team like that, you're just going to learn how to function at a higher level like that. So you'll either like really reap the benefits of all that leverage. You'll just get to come in, do your business, you know, kiss the babies, shake some hands, make a lot of money, and go home at the end of the day and not worry about anything. Or you get to learn how to build something at a high level like that and really be able to leverage, so that you can later on then go out and form your own thing. But I just think that there's so many benefits to either joining a team or making a team that, and with the way that things are going, I just think it's becoming harder and harder to compete as the lone ranger out there in your market.
Yeah, hashtag, the show's hashtag is hashtag no dead hookers under the bed.
No dead hookers.
Man, that's a long hashtag.
I know. Well, you gotta get the point.
Paul Franklin's comments on another dead hooker in Ben Affleck's trailer. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but I knew I didn't like that Ben Affleck character, and now I know.
Snopes.
That's right. Check on Snopes. Okay. But Paul also brings up a good point. He says, "What are your thoughts on sharing staff, like admins, etc., with other agents rather than partnering?" I'd be interested to see, Dale, if you've encountered this much, but I think it can work. There's a guy that we're working with a little bit behind the scenes. He's been on the Team Building podcast before. His name is Gary Boomershine. He's in the investment side, and Greg, he's good friends with your partner Chris Callahan. He put together, he's in the investing side, so he's not in the residential side, but he has essentially done that, where he's built a company that has the kind of a core group of people, and then they've tested out, okay, well, who's the best admin staff at this? Who's the best company to make phone calls? Who's the best company to do the mailings? And they kind of manage that for people, and then other agents or other investors around the country can plug into that, and then it's essentially they share those resources. Right, so if you wanted to, it's similar to like if an agent wanted to combine or partner with another agent to go in on a Boomtown account or an ISA to make calls for them or something like that. It absolutely can work, and he's proven it can not only work but actually scale up into like a real business. However, he's like an engineer, like he gets it. So like I would say, if you're going to share services with somebody like that, where there's the admin staff, either you've got to find an admin staff that they are an engineer and they work like that, or one of those two partners has to, because somebody has to set up the systems. And most of the time, the admin staff are not going to be able to come into the business unless they've been doing it for 20 years and just completely take it off your shoulders mentally and just be able to run with it without you creating the system for them that they plug into. Does that make sense, Dale?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. It absolutely can work, and there's lots of different ways to work that. In fact, there's a lot of very progressive companies and teams out there trying to figure out how do we do that. Like, what does the team model need to look like? And it's not just the old traditional model of, I'm the leader of the company, you come in here and row the boat, and I'm going to give you half of, or 40% or 30% of whatever you do, right?
Yeah.
Some teams are looking at more of like a service-based thing where they say, listen, come to us, do your business, this is your business, and we take all of that other operations and support stuff off your plate and we have an agreement of how much you're going to pay for that.
Yeah.
Things like that. So there's lots of different ways to skin the cat.
Yeah, agreed. And Greg, we're getting ready to announce and launch some big things in the next year. And that's a very similar model to what we're going to offer. That I won't say much more than that. But I would say on top of that, if you can plug it as an agent, if you can plug into a system that not only does that and takes like some of the operations and the systems part off of you so that you can just focus on the people, but then you can also plug into a system that makes you better at talking to people and bringing more people into your world. Like, to me, that's, if I was an individual agent jumping into the business today, that's what I would look for is, take all the operations and the marketing and all that stuff off my plate, but I also want to plug into a team that actually helps me get more business, that makes me better at conversations, that makes me not holds me accountable to stuff I don't want to do, but supports me in the stuff that I do want to do and helps me get better and build the skills in the areas that I want to be in. So, Greg, that's kind of the direction that we're going.
Yeah, we 100% are. We are starting a team, guys. It's gonna be national. So if you guys want to talk about joining our team, just let us know. And we're really excited about when we can actually talk about that. But I do believe that there is something to also be said on the exact other polar opposite side of that, is that there needs to be some level of competency in all things real estate for an agent to be a fully functional agent. So if the admin is sick, they can run the paperwork. If they break out on their own, they can do their own version of marketing or branding or something like that. There has to be, Matt, you've said it 100,000 times, the fact that, you can't teach something you don't know. You can't, hey, go do this, but I don't know how to do it. So I would encourage agents to, wherever teams go, I want you guys to still, never stop in your education of the functions of real estate. How do you do this business? It is a business. But I do think that you don't have to do things that you're not good at. There are other people out there that have better skill sets for those things. Like, for me, organization and paperwork it's brutal, man. Like, I'll do it, but God, it's slow going. Eileen can blow that out in just minutes. I mean, she writes contracts in the back of cars driving down from Tahoe. I mean, she's like a ninja with real estate contracts. It's just, and then she gets it out and DocuSign and everything else. She does that in 20 minutes. It would take me 2 hours. So where is your better time spent? Consistently think about where your better time is spent. Yeah. But it's going to be interesting. It'll be very, very interesting to see where this next year is going to take us and beyond.
That's right.
Not just 1 year, a whole bunch of years.
That's right. Okay, well, let's wind down and first of all, let people know kind of where to reach out to us, and then I've got this one objection I was saving for the end, and we'll handle that towards the very end. So, Dale, how can people connect with you?
They can reach me at dale@smartinsidesales.com or on Facebook. I also have a Facebook group, Smart Inside Sales. Lots of great content and information they can find us there. I'm easy to find. Google me.
You're easy. That's good.
I'm easy. Look at this jacket.
That just sounds like good marketing.
You can find me at #I'mEasy.
Yeah.
A lot of horrible hashtags on the show. All right, Greg, how do people connect with you?
Follow me on Facebook, you guys. If you guys are hearing this on iTunes, go to Facebook, find My Ugly Mug. You just type in Greg McDaniel. I'll be the goofy guy with the red shirt and black hat, pointing at my hat that says Real Estate Life. Follow me there. You guys can, most days when I'm not under the weather, I am in my office doing outbound prospecting calls at least 3 to 4 days a week. You guys can watch either on YouTube Live or Facebook Live. If you want to message me, send me a Facebook message. I'm very, very easy. Just like Dale, we're both very easy.
Hey.
So fine. Hey, girl. Oh, Matt's going to roll his eyes, I guarantee you.
Yeah, I am. All right.
But you gotta say
So,
it's really easy to get a hold of me and send in all seriousness, send me a message if you have a question or something. I'd be glad to answer in any way, shape, or form I can.
that's right. And please, guys, book him up with calls. I don't care if he's sick or not. Let's fill up Greg's calendar. Go to bookmcdaniel.com.
Book McDaniel.
bookmcdaniel.com. For me, guys, if you are looking for some direction, or if you need like an outside second opinion on all the different programs and coaches that we have relationships with, and some strategic direction on where to go, we can hop on a quick 15-minute call. I'm happy to help. That link is 15.bookjohnson.com. I'll throw that into the Facebook comments for anybody that's on the live broadcast with us. Obviously booked for most of next week, Greg. It's going to be slow going for us. We're going to take it easy and recharge our batteries a little bit. We might even cancel a couple of shows depending on how it goes, but then we'll be coming back strong in the new year. I'm not one of those people that believes you have to hustle all the time. Hustle strategically. That should be the hashtag for this show. Hustle strategically. How about that?
I still think that hashtag dead hookers rules.
Dead hookers? All right, we'll go with that. Okay. So final
Solid
objection.
choice.
Final objection to throw your way, Dale, and then we'll actually wrap this up and put a nice Christmas bow on this episode for everyone. So the objection is, and this is again going back to the seller, we only want to give you a 30-day listing, 90-day, whatever it is. They want way shorter than you want to list them for. Most agents, like in the Midwest, will sign 6-month listing agreements. Let's say they want to just do like a 3-month or something like that, and you want that full listing. So how do you combat that?
I would ask, I see, what's the benefit to doing that?
Okay. Well, let's see. We had a bad experience in the past with an agent, and so we are just hesitant about getting stuck in a listing with an agent who then turns out to just be on vacation all the time, or agents you guys don't really work.
Oh, yeah, I got you. So you want to protect yourself from getting with a bad agent?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay. Is there any other specific benefit to having a short listing agreement?
No, I guess that's mainly it.
Okay. You like the marketing plan that we've talked about today, right?
I love it, Dale. You're a marketing genius.
Great. And you feel, and you like the team support that we have and all of the specialization and things that the extra things that we can offer you, right? Yeah,
sounded great.
Wonderful. You do know that we have a 30-day cancellation if we're not holding up our end of the bargain, right? Maybe we missed that.
No, I guess I wasn't thinking about that. So even if we signed today, like I could just cancel.
Yes, if we're not holding up our end of the bargain, then you can cancel with us. I wouldn't tie you to something and then not do our job.
Okay.
Great.
Interesting.
So our minimum is a 6-month commitment.
Okay, and why is that? Why does it take 6 months?
To give us enough time to make sure that we're actually positioning your home properly in the market. So sometimes, our average days on market is only about, 36 days. The likelihood is that your home is going to sell quickly. Sometimes, on edge cases, they don't. So we never know which one that's going to be. Okay. So we just want to make sure that if we're going to make an investment in you, that we actually have the time to make sure that that investment is fruitful and we have success.
Gotcha. All right. Well, that makes sense. Dale, hand me that lovely pen
forward.
you have in your hands. I'm going to sign
Let's
right now.
move forward.
No, that was really good. I like it. So again, always going back to asking questions. I love how you very smoothly slowed down and asked a couple of confirmation questions to make sure there wasn't some other hidden other objection that I wasn't getting out there. Right? Is this the only thing? Are you happy with this? Are you happy with that? Are you happy with this? Like just trying to make sure you got let's lay all of our cards out on the table. Let's figure out exactly what we're dealing with and just understand what their thinking process is, because there's a reason they're saying that, and it's not that they just don't like your snazzy jacket.
Exactly.
So you want to understand.
I mean, that's impossible.
It's impossible, exactly. It can't be that. So you want to understand what that is, then you deal with that, and then the idea is, okay, great. I love that last line. You buttoned it up very nicely, which is, hey, if we make an investment in you, we just want to make sure that the investment has enough time to get the best possible payoff.
Yeah, great. So the thing we always teach is always ask people, right? Any objection that you run across, anytime they want to do something counter to what you want them to do, there's a reason for it. They've actually, thought it out. or maybe they haven't thought it out that far, but there's some motivating factors in there, right? And you got to uncover what that is. And there might be multiple ones, right? So you don't want to jump in and start handling it right away. Get it all out on the table first, so that it doesn't come around.
Greg, I'm sure that's what most of us, that's probably our natural reaction, Greg, is as soon as we hear something like that, we just want to attack it like a rabid chihuahua.
Yeah, but you know what? I like my objection handler on that type of a situation is very similar to Dale's. I just, he has a 30-day out. California is a bilateral agreement. I mean, either party can cancel at any time for any reason.
Oh.
But I like the way you phrase it. Matt came back at you and said, "Oh, so I can quit?" And you didn't say yes. You said, "If we're not doing our part, then yes, you can cancel." You address what action had to happen for them to just pull the ripcord and bail on you. Yeah. And I really like that. Really liked that a lot. That was really well handled.
Thank you.
A lot of the times, people, I've never really come across those unless I'm using it as a hook to get a listing. Like, hey, how about we just do a 1-week listing agreement, or the 24-hour listing agreement, or the 1 month. 24-hour is one I really love, because you hit them so hard, so fast, with so much value that they're completely blown away, and they totally forgot about the 24-hour listing agreement. They're like, "Fuck yeah, man, Dale's my boy, my boy Blue."
We boy.
Yeah, and you can make it. You can do the things you say you're going to do. It's kind of like a politician running for presidency. They're so full of shit. I mean, their eyes are so brown because they're so stuffed full of crap that when they actually start doing something, we're so glad they did one out of the myriad of things they said they were going to do. Like, oh, fuck, finally there's something they're doing.
They did something.
They woke up.
Depends on your perspective of government, Greg. I would rather they just did nothing.
Well, it's an analogy.
First, do no harm. How about that?
That's a problem. But get my point. Like, at real estate agents, we talk a big game of all these things that we're going to do for them, this, that, and another thing. We're going to be so amazing. Then we don't show up, and we don't take their calls, and we miss their text messages, and their home sits on the market, and they try to do price reductions, and you don't listen to what they're trying to tell you. I think that the value up front, people forget about the 30-day listing, 6-month, 3-month listing agreements. Besides, let's be real, guys. If that home is priced correctly, it can be a 3-month listing agreement. It doesn't matter if things going to sell like that if you do your job up front. End of story. Okay, I'm off my soapbox.
Good. Well, with that being said, let's put a nice Christmas bow on this episode. And anything else you want to close out with, Greg?
No, I just want to thank you guys. This is our last show. I think we're going to have a couple more shows before the end of the year. But you guys know what? 2017 has been a great year for the show. You guys blessed us beyond our wildest dreams. We want to bring you guys value. If there's anyone or anything we can do that you guys want, just maybe see a show on. Matt and I are do one-on-one shows, at least once a week. We'd love to take some topics and really go deep on some things that are really kind of in your brains of what you want to get hashed out, so you're ready to hit the ground in 2018 and beyond whenever you're hearing my voice. But that's it. Dale, you are a legend among men. You are always awesome, dude.
Keep going.
No. Keep going. Keep it going.
Keep going. Don't stop. Why are you stopping?
Don't stop.
Well, I have to bait you to bring you back.
A beautiful human being, a specimen among all men.
And so humble.
A fellow wearer of the beard. Yeah.
So humble.
All right, guys. Hey, you guys, thanks for coming and watching us. We love you to pieces. Until the next time. Peace out, ninjas! Gone.